Hey guys, welcome to Mitch's Vinyl Corner and thanks for stopping by. So today I'm going to do the long-awaited review on my new preamplifier, which is the Parasound JC3 Jr. So I've lived with this for a couple of weeks now, probably 3 to 4 weeks now, and I will say it is light years from what I was using before. But before I get into that, I just kind of want to give like a brief semi-technical overview. I'm not going to go do like a real deep dive of the technical stuff, but just kind of point out the highlights here. So this is actually the younger brother of the JC3 Plus, which is also from Parasound, which I believe is double the price of this. Now this currently retails for about $1,500. So, and I think the JC3 Plus is like 25, somewhere up to like 3,000. I've seen it between those prices on different websites like Audio Advice and Crutchfield and places like that. But starting out with the front, you've got your on and off switch, obviously. And then also you have a mono switch where if you're playing mono records and you want to hear mono reproduction, it'll combine the two channels, the left and right channel for stereo, and it'll give you that mono output. So I've been playing a lot of mono records while using the mono switch, and it is really, really good. And I can't compare it to where if it's actually, if you were using a mono cartridge instead, I heard that's the way to go, but I don't have one. But I feel like the mono reproduction, I can hear a difference on a mono record if I don't have the mono switch pushed in, and when I do, I can actually tell a difference for the better because the detail is a lot more tighter. The instruments are a little more tighter. You don't have that weird panning with the left and right channels of some like early stereo records. So I'm not going to take this apart. I'm going to put up pictures of the back of it to show you. So on this side, which would be the left side if I was looking at it, that's going to be your power supply there. So the really cool thing about this is that the power supply is shielded off from the rest of the components, which one protects it from overheating and also lets all of the components breathe a little bit more, and everything is not so densely packed into the chassis itself. And it also creates like a lower noise floor. You don't get humming or anything like that. So that was a really good feature of this. Moving over to the right side, that's where all the main components are going to be. So you're going to have obviously your RCA inputs and outputs there. They're gold plated, so they're really high quality made. And you also have the option for, I believe it, XLR balanced input. Now, balanced and using regular RCA cables, from what I've read, if you're using this in a balanced form, then you essentially create almost no noise floor. There's not going to be any noise floor. It creates better detail separation within the music. I don't have the ability to use balance. My amplifier, my Leak 130, doesn't have that option, nor do my speakers. So I'm simply just using the gold-plated RCA cables. However, I did upgrade both the input and output cables to a pair of Blue Jeans RCA cables that I feel like definitely made a difference from the standard like Radio Shack ones I was using for a couple of years. Also, you have your switches for your gain, your impedance as well for your mono cartridge, or excuse me, just for your cartridge. So for regular moving magnet, it's pretty easy. You just set the gain to 47. That's pretty much the standard gain output that pretty much all moving magnet cartridges need. And also you can also do the gain, I believe, the 40 to 50 to 60 dB. So I set mine at 40, which is the standard for the cartridge that I have on the MoFi Studio deck. Whatever cartridge you're using, whether it be moving magnet, moving coil, whatever kind. Just make sure you read the specifications when you get a new piece of gear like this, because the settings might be different, especially when you move into a moving coil. Now, I've never used moving coil. I've not delved into that realm of hi-fi yet, but I will eventually someday, whenever I have the money for it, because moving coils, from what I've seen, tend to be a lot more expensive than, say, like your moving magnet cartridges. So you also have the ability to change the impedance, because if you're using a high output or a low output moving coil cartridge, you'll need to make sure that you have the correct impedance. So it goes from, I believe, 50 all the way up to 500. So whatever kind of moving coil cartridge you get, it gives you the ability to set it to the correct ones that the manufacturers recommend that you do. So that was just, like I said, a quick technical overview. I'm not a technical geek by any stretch of the imagination, but this was the one thing that I really wanted to upgrade in my system, because for the last couple of months, I really felt like something was holding my system back. Now, I have the MoFi Studio Deck, the Leak Audio 130, and I have the Wharfdale Linton Heritage speakers, where, again, those are not cheap, and I paid really good money for them. I'm very happy with my setup. It's definitely giving the sound that I needed, but I felt like there was a kink in the chain when it came to the sound quality. And after talking with a few friends, of course, Louis V, Todd from Great Bears Nation, went on the Steve Hoffman forums. Yes, I went down that rabbit hole too a little bit, but hey, it comes with a hobby. Sometimes you have to go down a rabbit hole to actually find what you want. So I settled on this, and I really felt like it was if any component was really holding me back, it was definitely the preamp, because as you all know, if you've been watching my channel for a while and looking at my Instagram, I was using the MoFi Studio Phono preamp that I bought whenever I did get the studio deck in December of 2022. So I've been using it for about 3 years, and I really enjoyed it. I really thought that the sound stage was good. Everything was really good. The music, how everything came together. But I felt like every time I would look at that little box, as you got to remember, the MoFi Studio Phono is very, very small now compared to this. Now, bigger always doesn't mean better, all right? But one of the things that I was looking at while discovering what kind of preamp that I wanted to get was something like this, like Parasound. The type of chassis and the type of components that are used in this really are going to help make a difference. Now, with this chassis in particular, you have all of the components, like I said, spread out from each other. And that little MoFi Studio Phono, it was all crammed together, so the components really didn't have a chance to breathe. And I always felt like that thing was getting really, really hot all of the time. Hi, Eva. My Great Dane actually just came in the room. What you sniffing over there? You want to say hi to the camera? Hi, sweet girl. Mwah. That's Eva, everybody. Thank you, Eva. All right, so back to the Parasound. So again, I was really looking for something that could really bring out what my system was definitely capable of, because I felt like the preamp was holding everything back. So I reached out to a couple friends, like I said, and said, hey, what do you recommend? I'm looking in this price range, because I didn't want to really go overboard. Because again, I wanted to make sure I got something that meshed well with the system I already have, and didn't want to upgrade, everything else. So I settled on the Parasound JC3 Jr. And also shout out to the guys from Audio Advice up in Maryland that helped me get this and shipped it to me. Because I watched their review on YouTube. I'll link it up here too. They provided a really, really detailed review of it, a lot more technical aspects of it, which again, like I said, I wasn't going to get into in this video. So I took their word on it. So I took it in. There was a 60-day money-back guarantee if I didn't like it. Got this thing a couple weeks ago. I hooked it up, and immediately from the very first track that I put on, this thing blew the MoFi Studio phono out of the water in every aspect. The music felt like it was able to breathe a lot more and more of a 3D effect within the music, which I really, really like. When I put on jazz records, I was able to hear the plucking of the string instruments too, and just the whole vibe of it was just really what I got lost in the music. Like I couldn't put a record down. I just had to keep listening to it and grabbing more, grabbing another one, grabbing different genres. So like when I say with jazz, you can hear the plucking of the instruments, you can hear, the echo from the drums and the saxophone. It feels like you're actually in the studio with those musicians. And I know a lot of it could definitely deal with the, recording quality of that album. If it was made really, really well, it's going to sound really good regardless. But compared to what my studio phono was producing, and I listened to a lot of the albums that I listened to and doing like somewhat of a comparison, because I lived with the studio phono for, like I said, 3 years, and I know what it sounds like. But it was just a no-brainer from the first album that I put on. I think it was John Coltrane's Kind of Blue, the Tone Poet one. I actually put the mono version on, and I was just blown away. It felt like I was actually in the studio. Now with rock records, all right, the next one I put on was Led Zeppelin 2. It was a Robert Ludwig, so of course it's cut really loud, cut really hot, has all of that bass and drive that you want a good rock record to have. When I put on Whole Lotta Love, I actually felt the room like shake almost. It was just, and in a good way too, like it really brought out everything, the detail, the sharpness. It was just absolutely unbelievably good sounding. This is what my system is now capable of, and I will say definitely thanks to Parasound for creating this JC3 Jr. It was leaps and bounds from what I was using before. Now, I'm not shitting on the studio phono by any means. It is for the price point of what that is, I think it's really, really good, especially if you're someone at like entry level. Maybe you have a turntable that's between like maybe $500 to $1,000, and you want a really good preamp that has a subsonic filter in it to help with low-end rumble, and you want a mono switch. I think for the price point, the MoFi Studio Phono would be a very good option for you. However, for me, who's been doing this a couple more years, upgraded my equipment, I really needed something to bring my listening experience to the next level. And the Parasound JC3 Jr. did that 1,000%. It's just been such a joy listening to my system now that I've included this new preamp. It is just unfreaking believable. It is just so good. I was playing Motorhead Ace of Spades last night, and it was so damn loud in a good way. I was like, wow, this is what a rock record should really, really sound like. I was super, super impressed. So now I believe that my system is definitely complete, at least for the next couple of years, because unfortunately with this hobby, as we all know, you're always wanting to upgrade. But I say if you're going to upgrade, do it smart. Don't be impulsive and rush into these things. I'm telling you because I'm the pot calling the kettle black. I've done that before in this hobby, and yeah, I do regret it. But over the last couple of years, I've gotten really careful. I've been doing my research. I've asked experts. And if you do have the ability to go to a hi-fi shop and actually demo something before you get it, definitely do that. Or if you don't, like me, unfortunately, you can get something from like Crutchfield audio advice, any of those websites, and they usually have like a money back guarantee or like a 30 to 60 day return policy. So at least you can get it, review it, kind of test it out, and if you don't like it, you can send it back. So I say those are definitely good options for you if you're in the market. If you're in the market for a brand new preamplifier within that $1,000 to $1,500 range, this is definitely it. This, I believe, actually came out in 2018, if I'm not mistaken. It was actually designed by John Curl, who is one of the most renowned audio engineers in the world. He's been around this business, I think, for something like 30 to 40 years. And JC, John Curl, this thing's actually named after him. So I think this is, for the price point, I think it is very, very, very good. You are not going to be disappointed. So yeah, there you go. The long-awaited review of the JC3 Jr from Parasound. So with that, thank you all for stopping by. I'll see you all next time.